class, this is Sister Wilkinson, and this is going to be part 1 of an SPSS introductory tutorial. So to start off with, here I am. This is what the VMware looks like if you get that from BYUI, and you can see right on your desktop there's an icon for SPSS. So I'm going to open that up to start with. Now, SPSS is a statistical software package that might seem a little bit confusing at first, but it's really going to become your best friend by the end of the semester because it makes it so that you don't have to do all the ugly, nasty calculations that are required for statistics. Instead, we're going to be able to have SPSS do those calculations. So here's what your screen looks like when you first open it up. It's going to ask you if you want to open a file, and most of the time you will have a file from your homework sets that you'll be using, but for now I'm just going to go for a new data set. So I click on New Data Set and hit OK. And this is what I have. As you can see, it looks a lot like Excel, which most of you are probably familiar with. Now, SPSS has two main screens. It has the data editor, which is what we're looking at right now, and the other one is the output viewer, which looks like this. Right now we don't have any output, so there's not much to see there. So I'm going to switch back to the data editor, and let's talk about the data editor. So in the data editor, there's two different views. There's the data view and the variable view. And if you look down at the bottom, there's these tabs which allow you to switch back and forth between data view and variable view. In the data view, you can edit and manipulate your data. So let's say I want to enter in some data. I'm going to go ahead and start right over here, and I'm just going to enter in the ages of my children. So I have 15-year-old, 12-year-old, and several 8-year-olds. Alright, so here's the ages of all my kids. So you can see that there are some differences between SPSS and Excel. So in SPSS, your data has to be entered in a column format. So each column represents a different variable in your data set. And the rows represent the individuals, which SPSS calls the cases. Now if I go down here to the variable view, this kind of summarizes the descriptions of all the variables that we have. So right now I just have the one variable. SPSS gave it a name, which was var 0001, which is kind of boring. So I'm going to go ahead and change that to be kids' ages. Now SPSS is a little bit particular with how it wants your variables named. So if I type in kids' ages and I hit return, it's going to give me an error. There's my error, because it doesn't want to have any spaces in the variable name. So instead, I'm just going to put an underscore, and that'll solve that problem. So alphabet, some characters, and numbers can all be used to name those. The next column that we have here tells about the type of variable. Now in class, we've talked about the two different types of variables. We have categorical and quantitative. So quantitative variables are variables that take numerical values for which it would make sense to do arithmetic operations, such as averages, things like that. And categorical variables place an individual into a group or a category. So looking here, you can see that it's defined my variable for me as numeric, which it is. Numeric is SPSS's way of saying a quantitative variable. Now if you click on this little dot 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 off to the side, you can see all the options that you have. So the two most interesting ones are going to be numeric, which is like a quantitative variable, and string, which is like a categorical variable. All these other ones are just fancy ways of showing a quantitative variable. And the rest of these columns here just show how you want things displayed. Okay, so there's a quick view of what the data editor can do for you in SPSS. Watch the next tutorial to see what the output is all about.